First of all, why not stop, take a deep breath, and think for a minute? Can things really be all that bad?
Moving now to less annoying clowns.
There is nothing wrong with your radio. Do not attempt to change the station. We are controlling the transmission.
Bring it on, son.
It's just past 4 o'clock and your workday's starting to come to an end. You know what that means? It's time to crack one open and join the tailgate with former Gator pitcher and lord of the long ball, Jeff Cardozo.
It's in the hole. You don't like my teeth, just don't shake my tree, man.
The tailgate is brought to you by Sun State Federal Credit Union and David Chevrolet. Now let's take you to the second floor of Weimer Hall on ESPN 98.1 FM 850 AM WRUF.
Well, we're not Jeff and we're not Pat. We're better looking.
I was going to say the same thing. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Two guys originally from the Northeast that if we still lived up there, we'd be probably throwing beers at each other.
Yeah.
At the ball game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a good point there.
Brett Holcomb.
Especially right now with it being tied up after all those games and everything that happened. And,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Mets, Phillies, 2 back, chasing the Cubs and the Brewers. So this is going to get interesting. What, 20 left?
Yeah. It's nuts.
And as a Gator, we got Mr. Alonso chasing Aaron Judge's, 52.
Mm-hmm.
So he's at 46, 47. He's got a chance. He's got to get hot. The Mets hit a bunch of home runs the last 2 days, and I thought for sure he'd have one, but he didn't. But he shaved the mustache. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Mid-game, he shaved the mustache because apparently he's very supersticious. Peter Alonso is. And he thought the mustache is holding him back because everybody else was hitting dingers. And he's like, where am I at on this list?
He's not aerodynamic.
No.
Thing. Brett Holcomb here with PG. We're sitting in for Jeff and Pat, who are in Lexington.
Or en route. Pat might be en route.
Yeah, Pat said he might call in later today.
Yeah, he gets up there a little later usually than Jeff, and then Jeff and them should already be there.
He should be.
So weather shouldn't be much different than here. It's still hot up there. It'll be a little less humid. It'll be hot. Anything about rain? You see anything in the forecast there?
In Kentucky, no. Here, yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, might have a little tropical thing going on.
So hopefully the weather won't be much of an impact. It's a night game, so cramps, things like that. I mean, the Gators are used to heat. Kentucky's used to heat at this point. So no rain, and that doesn't factor in.
So we should have a pretty fun show with you. We're going to have Austin Gale from ProFootballFocus.com calling in about 4:15, talking about the NFL, talking about the Gators in Kentucky, trying to see who's moving up, with the ratings for player wise. So I think that'll be pretty interesting.
Ooh, is this the top 50 guy?
Yes.
Oh, very interesting. Because we had him on. I was on the show, and he had Brad Stewart rated as the highest rated Gator who didn't make the 50. I wonder, we've had so many sacks, but he said this was over a 2-year evaluation, so we've played 2 games, so I don't think they'll move up very much. And Henderson, obviously, not having played, and Stewart, they don't have an ability to move up.
Right.
So, interesting.
And that was one of the reasons when they were doing, the top 100 players in college football, Felipe wasn't in there, is because it was over a 2-year span, and if you look at Felipe's 2-year span.
Not very good.
Not very good. He probably has half a season of good numbers.
And, the last 2 games, he's almost thrown for 300 in each game. One more completion of 20 yards in each game, and he was over 300. So he hasn't played as poorly as people think.
No. I think in that Miami game, the thing that I think stuck in everybody's craw was that pick at the end of the game.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
No.
It was right by us. We were in the end zone. That just was not. No, on first down with 3.5 left.
Right.
Get the ball back.
Right.
No.
Absolutely. Jake Hitt's producing for us, so you chime in on Facebook Live, and it's up on Twitter today. We're having some issues with our Facebook Live, so you're going to click on a link for YouTube. We are working on it. Of course, it's a Facebook issue, and it's not ours. But you can go in there. If you got any questions, Jake will pass it along. We have a contest.
Yes. I'm going to run that down here in a little while. Titan MRI with another Jumpman polo. Awesome. Man. They're great. Home and away. So, we've got the 3 questions. Now, you got to either email Jeff, because we love to just load his inbox. So, or you can hit up the Instagram page and you can direct message, DM, as the youngsters call it. DM me your answers, and we'll go over those shortly. 3 questions, pretty easy, yes, no. And then we'll, if you answer all 3 correctly, we'll throw you in the pot. And if nobody else picks them correctly and you do, you win. If not, if there's 4 guys, 4 girls that pick it, then we'll put you in the pot, pull your name.
If nobody puts it in, we get it?
Yeah. How does that work? We'll give it to Jake, because he's a struggling college student that can't even resell his tickets. He was telling us in the break. Like the UF is just keeping anything from them. They have to struggle.
Hey, it's all part of being a college student, I guess.
I got one here.
There you go. 392-8255 is the number to call. One of the things we're going to get ready for this Kentucky game. And, if we were doing this show last year before the game, would you have ever fathomed that Kentucky would beat Florida?
Well, UF hadn't played well against Kentucky for the previous couple games.
Right.
I remember Muschamp, we won that game and probably shouldn't with the catch that might not have been a catch. And then we had 2 receivers that went uncovered. Remember that? Never seen that once, and to see it twice. And I think Stoops is a really good coach.
I do too.
So I wasn't shocked when they lost the game. But I was surprised, because since I moved to Gainesville in 1987, Mets won the World Series that year, and I remember that. Anyway, they hadn't lost to Kentucky.
Right.
You just didn't lose to Kentucky. But there were games, Chris Leak brought us back in one game up there, and there were games that just kept the streak alive. So, but do you feel like the streak is over?
For Florida?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like it's over now? And they're still kind of little brother, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if they came and won this week,
then you're talking.
Then we're talking. But it's so funny because I'm not from here, and you went to school here and you've lived here for quite a while, right?
Yes.
So when I got down here, anytime Florida was playing Kentucky or Tennessee, this is what I heard. It's only Kentucky. It's only Tennessee. No big deal.
Since you've been here?
Since I've been here.
Well, Tennessee used to be
I understand that.
Huge game.
Yeah, one of my good friends played for Tennessee.
There you go.
So I absolutely know that one. But I kept hearing that. And the year that Tennessee beat us, 3 years ago, was it?
They came back, Appleby threw some interceptions up there, and yeah.
So I had to work that day, and I came in late, and I was relieving my boss. And Florida's up, thinking, all right, they're going to win the game. 5 minutes after he left, Kentucky scores. So I start texting him. I'm like, uh-oh. It's only Tennessee. 5 minutes later, Kentucky scores again. I text him. It's on Tennessee. Don't worry about it. This one's in the bag. Guess what? It wasn't in the bag. And they lost. Last year, I wasn't here during Kentucky. I was actually at home watching it. And I'm like, I would love to hear what's going on the radio right now. Because all I heard and saw on Facebook and Twitter was, it's Kentucky, no problem. We could be down by 25. We're coming back. No big deal.
And they did come back some in that game and gave themselves a chance. But you're right. Everybody was just shocked. But when you've done it 30 times in a row,
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like the law of averages is going to come in. It's like whoever thought Appalachian State was going to beat Michigan in the Big House.
I can go a step further. Georgia Southern didn't complete a pass against Florida.
Right.
And I was in, so anything can happen. And you watched the other day when Florida State went, what was that, Lafayette, Louisiana? They won the game off a missed extra point in overtime that was, they should have tied it and kept it going. And I watched Army, I watched Army kind of go into the big house there in Michigan, and that's not a really good example because Army goes toe-to-toe lately.
Right.
Georgia, a team that I had never heard of, not Georgia Southern, not where Kerwin Bell used to coach up there. What is that? Valdosta State. Mm-hmm. Georgia State. Speaking of Tennessee was a 28-point favorite and lost by 21, 24.
Right.
That's incredible.
It is.
So anything can happen.
Right. But I think the thing that with the Kentucky is, in a way, I'm kind of glad it happened because it's a little bit of humble pie. Just kind of check yourself at the door, make sure everything's good. I think it was going to help the program. But the other thing, too, is Kentucky might be on the rise. And that's a good thing for the conference. If they're not going to be Vanderbilt.
Second tier.
They'll be a second tier.
Maybe top of the third tier team.
But the look is, Stoops has been a good coach. He can get that program around. You look at like Louisville a couple of years ago when they were all of a sudden in the picture. Louisville's got a football team.
They were pulling a lot of guys out of the state of Florida.
Right.
Recruiting. And
absolutely.
They were big-time players.
But, now they're a known commodity. So I like it because it's helping the conference so that when you're playing these conference games, it means even more now.
And unlike Vanderbilt, Kentucky has actually put a ton of money into their football program. They've renovated the stadium.
Which is a great thing. So if you're going to, as a conference, if you're going to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk and all that.
And they want to be better in football. Yep. Now, the other thing is Stoops. Why is Stoops continuing to get passed over for jobs? Because he can coach. And he can evaluate talent and he can develop talent. Not to jump on, I don't think Kentucky's going to win the game tomorrow, and we'll talk about that in a little while. I'm not pumping Kentucky up. I think Kentucky's separating themselves from a Vanderbilt who doesn't put money into the program, is happy with going to a bowl game. That's a successful season. They're looking for 8, 9, maybe occasional 10-win seasons. And I heard their beat writer and I've read some things. They know who they are, but they know where they want to go. And they've had some really good players. They're getting now they're getting next tier recruits. They're starting to get 4-star guys. The Kelvin Joseph, the transfer from LSU, chose Kentucky. Now I think some of that was a grade related thing. He didn't come to Florida, but that shows you that they're recruiting at a higher level. They're putting money into the program. They've got a good coach. Do I think they're going to win tomorrow? No, but hopefully it's a good game. I'm hoping for a good Florida game.
Right.
And I'll talk about that because I'm going out on a limb today because I got a feeling.
Yeah,
I got a feeling. You want me to go over the questions here?
Yeah, let's go over the questions for the contest.
Let's go before we take a break here. So we're going to run the contest against for a Gator Jumpman polo. So 3 questions, okay? Will the Gators score more than 10 points in the first quarter? Because we know they've been kind of starting slowly, and that's been part of the problem, which I don't think personally will be a problem tomorrow. Will the over-under is 48. Will they be over for a total or under? So will the Gators score 10 points or more in the first quarter? Will the game, you picking the over-under with 48 being the number? And the last question is, will Felipe account for 4 touchdowns, either running or throwing? That's it. I think those are really good questions, and you could argue either side. And I know you looked at me and said there's no way Felipe's getting 4 touchdowns, but in the Miami game, he could have had 5. So, and I think, would you say the Miami defense is better than Kentucky?
I do. I don't know.
How motivated is Kentucky going to be? I mean, they're at home, but they're not facing a 30-year ban.
No,
so,
but I think what they are facing is they beat them last year. They can do it again. They come back and they want to start a streak.
Well, you saw Florida start a streak. They after that game, I mean, the Missouri game, they kind of folded up, but they won a lot of games after that, and then it humbled them. Like you were saying. So, yeah, both ways, but I could see the perspective.
I think the first quarter is going to be tight for both because I think it's at Kentucky. I think the fans are going to be riled up for that because of what happened last year.
It's a sellout.
And I think the team's going to be pumped up, and I think they're going to play their best football. Now, second quarter comes in, I think that's maybe when the wheels come off for Kentucky.
I see your point there, but I actually think that they're going to come out ready to play and make some mistakes. They got a quarterback that played, 8 games at Troy, and he was the MVP of the Dollar General Bowl, what I read. So he's got some accolades, but he hasn't faced, even without Chris Henderson, who's questionable at this point. Sure. We'll go over the injury report later, but 3 freshman secondary players against a guy like Felipe right now with that many weapons. I don't know. I think it could spiral out of control for Kentucky.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, we will.
392-8255 is the number to call. If you want to get on the contest, it's the Tailgate at WRF.com, or you go to the Instagram page. You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRF.
On ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Good afternoon, I'm Victor Prieto. High school football is back and prevalent tonight with 26 different high schools playing tonight in 13 games. Some notable ones include Brantford at Trenton, Newberry playing Union County, Eastside taking on Menendez, and Oakleaf hosting Gainesville. And the Gator volleyball team has a busy weekend hosting the Honda of Gainesville Gator Invitational. Florida defeated the University of South Florida Bulls earlier today and complete their doubleheader tonight with a match against James Madison at 7. Don't miss the coverage for that one starting right here at 6:50 p.m. And the Gator football team takes on Kentucky tomorrow in its SEC opener. Coverage for the game in Lexington tomorrow starts right here at 3 p.m. That's what's trending for ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF. I'm Victor Prieto.
ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
There are so many great things about living in North Central Florida. The trees, the breeze, the sunshine almost year-round. But as nice as the weather can be, these elements can also cause some great havoc on your roof, and this may be a great time to have that roof checked out. That's why I call McFall. Gainesville's premier roofing contractor can come out and inspect your roof, recommend repairs if needed, or get you a quote on a new roof. McFall Residential Roofing has been keeping Gainesville families safe for nearly 4 decades by providing strong roofs that stand the test of time. And all of McFall's new roofs come with a full 10-year warranty and now an optional 25-year full warranty on shingles and workmanship.
By choosing McFall, you'll be providing the best defense possible for your home and your family. Find us online at McFallRoofing.com or give us a call at 377-5512.
Adams Rib Company. With a smokehouse at both locations, you'll love our delicious smoked ribs, pulled pork, beef brisket, sweet tea, and so much more. Begin your day with Adams breakfast starting at 7. Throwing a party? Try the Tailgater Pack with a half slab of ribs, a half chicken, 2 large sides, and garlic toast. Adams now offers fast delivery with GainesvilleToGo.com.
We'll take care of you, give you some good food, and get you on your way.
But the number one reason why you should come to Adams Rib Company is the food is so good.
Adams Rib Company, putting the ribs back in barbecue.
There's a ton of things I love doing. That's why I have so many fun jobs and why I try so hard to make it to the kids' concerts, recitals, and games. But with everything that's going on, it doesn't leave me much time to take care of the chores at home. And since I hate chores, especially cleaning, I let the experts handle that one for me. Each week, a fully trained team from Molly Maid dusts, vacuum, wipes, cleans, whatever I need them to do in the house, leaving me more time to do the things I enjoy. Molly Maid is fully insured and is ready to do your dirty work for you as well. Call them up at 378-7755 or check them out online at mollymaid.com. They're made for this. Hey, football fans, if you are not at the game this weekend, you should be at the Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar downtown for all the best football coverage. Kick off your weekend with some free pool at happy hour and then stay for $5 Fridays where they've got $5 Jaeger bombs, Fireball, and Jameson from 7 to close. And beat the heat all weekend while you watch the Gators and your favorite NFL teams beat their opponents on the 30 TVs at the Silver Q. On Saturday, they're open at noon for college game day and happy hour runs till 7. And on Sundays, the NFL Sunday Ticket starts off Kickoff Happy Hour. That's at 1 and goes all night long. So why go anywhere else if you are not at the game? Go watch the game at the Silver Q. Well, true Gators know how to tailgate, and what better way to party than hanging out at the Cracker Barrel in Gainesville September 18th. It's the annual ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF tailgate. Festivities will start at 2 o'clock, and then Pat Dooley and yours truly, Jeff Cardozo, will broadcast live at 4 o'clock with the tailgate. You can come by and pick up the new 2019 Gator fan shirt and also hang out with Albert, Alberta, and the Gator cheerleaders. Stop by for your chance to win tons of prizes September 18th from 2 to 6 at the Cracker Barrel. We'll see you there.
Call Bounce to repair or replace your AC unit. Call Bounce. Give Bounce a call and we'll get right to it. Working 7 in the morning till 7 at night. We never charge overtime. We do things right.
Lower your utility bills with the new affordable carrier system from Bounce Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Bounce Heating and Air and save even more money with rebates and tax credits. Bounce Heating and Air. We are the experts.
Spring, summer, or fall, just give us a call.
The Tailgate is brought to you by Davis Gainesville Mazda, the official hometown automotive partner of the Florida Gators.
When Coach White speaks, hear it here. First, ESPN 98.1 FM at 850 AM WRUF.
Welcome back to the Tailgate here on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF. Brett Holcomb here with PG. And we're actually watching the scores in baseball. And
should I tell the listeners what happened?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're looking at the prompters here, and I'm looking at ESPN, and I look and see Pittsburgh's up 3-0 on the Cubs, and the Mets and the Phillies are chasing the Cubs. I look at them, I go, yes, Pittsburgh's up 3-0, and then we looked at each other. It's like, do you like guacamole? Step Brothers.
Oh, it's just.
Hey.
Baseball season's been crazy this year because, my team's taking a lot of flack, at least the upper management, and they should be because the pitching stinks.
But they're right there.
I know, but it's like.
How about the, I still call them the Devil Rays.
Right.
D-Rays are in it. They're in a 3-way battle over there with Oakland. I always like seeing Oakland do well. That's fun. And Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the second wild card.
Yeah.
Don't agree with the 1-game playoff, though.
No, they should play like a 5-game playoff.
Or 3 at least.
Or something.
Baseball. One game, I can't even watch.
You have a bad game, you're done.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going to, every week we bring in ProFootballFocus.com, talk about what's going on in the NFL and in college football, and we have Austin Gale. Austin, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
Doing pretty well. So let's get to the Gators first. Any changes in your rating so far for these guys after 2 weeks?
What we've seen with the Gators is Jonathan Greenard and Jabari Zuniga are still earning very, very high grades for this team. I'm really excited to see them go against some better competition. I'll say going into this week, I think Florida takes on Kentucky, and with those offensive tackles, you're going to get some better play from Kentucky along the offensive line. We'll really get to see a litmus test for Greenard and Zuniga to see if they're the real deal.
What kind of grades have you been given to Kentucky? Is there any certain players that the Gator Nation should be looking out for more than others?
Well, it's definitely unfortunate that they lost their starting quarterback, Terry Wilson. It's going to be a tough bout for Sawyer to kind of come into this game and win this one. I think it's why Florida is heavily favored. I think with Kentucky, that their best player has usually been that quarterback position. They struggled to replace Benny Snell. Defensively, they've struggled to replace Josh Allen. This team is not what it was a year ago, and I think with that being said, Florida is rightfully heavy favorites for this one.
Yeah, Kentucky losing their quarterback and having a guy that's played maybe 8 games. You see that line now. It's like 8.5 on the road in the SEC. That's pretty high. Mm-hmm. So, and then the over-under is at 48, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that means there's probably going to be some points scored. Not that I'm betting on anything, but I'm looking at those numbers, and usually they're pretty accurate, unless you're Georgia State playing Tennessee. But how do you see Kentucky from a skill set standpoint, skill player wise, on the offensive side of the ball, who stands out to you that might be able to kind of help the quarterback out? That I know you guys do your ratings based on 2 years, going kind of linear regression, looking forward. Who do you see there that can maybe make some plays and help the quarterback out on their end?
The best guy they have, and the guy they're going to have to feed if they are going to find any offensive success, is Lynn Bowden Jr., the slot receiver, a speedy guy, can do a lot after the catch, which he'll need to do with the new starting quarterback at the helm. I think LBJ, as I like to call him, he needs to get involved early and often if they are going to keep pace with Florida.
Now, I know the running backs, they did lose Snell, but they've got Smoke. He might have the best name for a running back in the SEC. Was it Keontae Smoke? And they also have a returning – he's the freshman, and they have a returning player. With those two, and I know you mentioned that Kentucky was struggling a little bit, have they not picked up the slack for Kentucky?
I would say no. I mean, largely because Snell was so efficient with getting yards after contact, forcing missed tackles behind what wasn't a great Kentucky offensive line, but he did so on a heavy touch count. Really did a good job with efficiency despite a large sample size of touches. With the new guys in there, Smokes included, they have not been able to add yards above expectation at that same rate as Snell did a year ago.
So let's go around the rest of college football. Any players that have exploded, in your opinion, since the season started?
I mean, you have to jump to the LSU signal caller. That guy has had an absolute outstanding start to this year, Joe Burrow of LSU. I think he's cemented himself at least in the Heisman race. It's not the Heisman's favorite with his improvement, with his efforts so far this year. What he did against Texas's defense to start, in that game was insane. He's so great throwing the ball downfield. Yes, he has good receivers, but to see what he's doing from an accuracy standpoint down the field, 10-plus yards down the field, is really incredible, and I think he's going to be in that conversation for Heisman down the road if he keeps this up.
Who's your number one player now? Are you allowed to give that information out at this current moment?
Yeah, I'd say yes. I think, at PFF, we definitely factor in positional value into our grades and our rankings because the quarterback position is so valuable. I think you would have to lean on Joe Burrow being the best player in college football right now. What he's doing for that offense, taking it from what was lackluster from a scoring standpoint, didn't do a ton of explosive plays to what it is now is incredible. And LSU's defense has always been good. Their secondary is going to be outstanding. They haven't improved pass rush, but if they can do what they did against Texas offensively with Joe Burrow under center, this team is legit. They can be an absolute contender in the SEC.
So, in the beginning of the season, you had the top 100 players in college football, and Felipe wasn't there. What have you seen from Felipe the last two games to maybe change your minds, or is he on track to get into that top 100?
Our minds on him haven't changed a ton. I think he's really struggled against the University of Miami in week 1, and going against the Cupcake week 0. Going against the Cupcake, it made things a little bit easier for him. He looked better this past week, but again, I feel we want to see him do great things. Accuracy, the pocket presence, don't hold the ball a little too long against good competition. I think the jury is still out on Franks for this year.
And Joe Burrow was a transfer candidate to come into the University of Florida, and I think everybody knows that. And I'm not saying that the staff here did not go after Joe Burrow hard, but they were happy with what they had in the quarterback room here. And kind of, I think Felipe was the guy that maybe Mullen thought might be his guy. I like Joe Burrow. I like seeing LSU actually try to do something different on offense. But to me, personally, I think it's pretty early to be crowning them and saying that, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate at this point, because he's got to do a little more. Texas, great competition, good opponent, but obviously you guys are really high on Burrow, but does that account last year as well as his start this year, or are you just going on his start this year?
Well, right now he's the highest graded quarterback in college football, and we place a lot of stock in that because of the upward trajectory, seeing him improve last year and into this year, and he's improving his play on NFL throws 10-plus yards down the field from a clean pocket, what we've seen to be stable play year over year, game over game. Again, he's a Heisman candidate right now, but he has to keep this up. It's not something, if he has a couple bad games and starts to look like the Joe Burrow of old, he'll start to slip out of this conversation. But if this same play is maintained, I'm telling you, this guy is going to be in that race.
All right, let's flip over to the NFL. And Jacksonville's got a new quarterback this week. in Gardner Minshew. What's the rating on Gardner going into the season?
At Washington State, Gardner Minshew earned one of the highest grades at the college football level in Mike Leach's system. Took advantage of that system. It's easy to kind of score high in that one because you are given so many open throws, so many opportunities in an air raid system. But this past week, he graded really well again. They were the top 5 grade among all starting quarterbacks in week 1. Looked very good, throwing the ball underneath it, accurate, good anticipation with his throws. The problem with Minshew, it's the reason he fell, as far as he did in the draft, is because he doesn't have a ton of arm talent. He has a noodle for an arm. He really can't push the ball downfield, doesn't have a ton of zip, even on his underneath throws. And with that being said, he has limitations. I think defenses will start to catch on to that, and it's how he reacts to that. Can he overcome his limitations from an arm talent perspective to win in the NFL? So far, the sample size is too small to say yes, but if he can prove it in week 2, a defense that will prepare for that lackluster arm talent, it'll be interesting to see moving forward.
I love the NFL, but I don't have a team. I like to watch players, and I think the offenses in the NFL haven't crunk up yet, so we haven't seen what some of these guys are going to do. But one thing that you guys do with your organization and your study and analytics is that you look to see where, like, NFL throws, like with college guys, like you mentioned. And also, you said last time you were on the air with us, where guys go with the ball. So you guys actually look at the center of the field, the right side of the field. And I'm going back to college and Felipe because he's a hot topic here. But you had mentioned that Felipe, and you gave the numbers, doesn't throw left, which me and Brent definitely did not know. I didn't realize that. Off the top of your head, I don't know if you have that information. Has Felipe improved at least in that regard where he's spreading the ball left now over just right and center?
A little bit, but I think the sample size is still too small, and it's against bad competition. One thing is in PFF 0 to 100 grades, they don't account for competition immediately. We do have opponent-adjusted mastery ratings that use opponent score to factor in with the grades through an algorithm to kind of give you an idea of the quarterback or any player's grade against proper competition when competition is accounted for. But right now, again, we haven't made those ratings for Felipe Franks yet. We want to move forward and see better throws like kind of what he showed this past week against real competition, against top-tier corners.
Now, Austin Gale from ProFootballFocus.com on the phone with us. I got 2 more questions for you, and then we can wrap up. Any player in the NFL that's like just came out of nowhere that you guys were like shocked that you saw these stats first week?
I want to say Lamar Jackson. I mean, we like Lamar Jackson. We weren't hating on him as much as others were, but at Louisville, very inaccurate. His first year in the NFL, very inaccurate. But what he did against Miami Dolphins, he looks like a different player. Very good pushing the ball downfield. Accurate, great ball location, all these good things. We don't think he improved overnight, but even if he improved at half of what he looked like against the Miami Dolphins, this kid's going to be pretty dang legit this year, and I think he's going to have another good game against a bad Arizona Cardinals defense. And I think this hype train for Lamar Jackson, the thrower, not the runner, is going to start to build.
And my final question for you, do you take points off for how players dress at a press conference?
I would say no, not yet. Maybe we can start thinking about it, because I do agree. I think maybe you're referencing the Cam Newton outfit.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan, but we're not going to pull grades now. We're back to that in the grades just yet.
All right, Austin. Thanks for coming on. And where can they find you on Twitter?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead and follow me at PFF_Austin Gale. That's AUSTINGAYLE.
All right. Thanks, Austin. Austin Gale from ProFootballFocus.com. Again, they do analytics. So, it's a little different than the eyeball.
Exactly.
Which, a lot of fans will be like, what are you talking about? And, I'm glad you brought that up with the throw in the left, because I forgot about that, but it was so intriguing to hear that.
And it was. That was eye-opening, and I know that was stats. And I love, if you're a baseball guy, you love stats. Football has stats built in. But I'm just not on board with the Joe Burrow for Heisman. I'm totally not. I think they look better. They're trying to rush to the line of scrimmage. He's a smart guy. He's been playing for a long time. He's got a lot of snaps now. But, Texas is so up and down. I keep waiting for them to turn the corner, and I'm not looking at them like they beat a top 3 team. And I think LSU's on the rise. That's my opinion. Joe Burrow's got to continue doing that. And to be the number 1 guy right now, that surprised me. But
no. Well, we're late for a break, but 392-8255 is number to call. You want to get in on the conversation? You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM.
Boss Gator, hang on.
850 AM, WRUF.
Experience Florida Gator football from a different seat by checking out the new Gator Seat Upgrade program. Fans will have the ability to improve their seats at every game this fall. Go to FloridaGators.com for more details.
This is Gator Flashback. Today, we feature a Gator fan named Lizard Man, who talks with Neil Anderson about what it was like being suspended by former coach Charlie Pell, and what it also was like playing with Ricky Nattil, James Jones, Lorenzo Hampton, and Curran Bell. Gator Flashback is brought to you by Greg Bradley's Allstate Insurance Agency.
In life, we create circles of trust, only inviting those who are true of character into those circles. People who come through on their promises. As an insurance agent, Greg Bradley is a definition of a promise keeper. With the G. Bradley Agency, your family is promised 3 things: integrity to go above and beyond, the will to educate, and expertise tailored for your specific needs. For auto, homeowners, life insurance, and more, call the G. Bradley Agency today at 352-377-1000. Greg Bradley, a promise keeper.
Flashback. I think I've only got one real bone to pick with Charlie Pell, and that was benching you for that 83 Georgia game after the weekend before in Auburn. How frustrating was it to sit on the bench and watch what happened that day when I think we lost 10-9?
It was a little frustrating, once you get a taste of being on the field and getting into action, especially in having the success I had. But, I think a lot of things go into it. The way we looked at it is when a player, if it's suspension or an injury and he loses his starting job because of that, when he comes back, usually you award him with their starting job again. So that's just part of the politics of the game, that you won't lose your job because of an injury or some type of suspension. When you come back, you'll have your starting job. So I understood what was going on. I came into the University of Florida knowing I could play, just waiting on my opportunity to come up. Wasn't intimidated by the situation of coming to the University of Florida, playing on any team. I knew what I could do, and it was just a matter of waiting on my turn to get an opportunity to show other people what I could do.
Flashback. So what does Neil and former teammates get together and do?
We have one group of guys that we take a golf trip together every year, go to a different place, and play a little golf for about 4 days, and get together and reminisce. And I think each person, their stats get better that they had in Florida every year. They get more and more touchdowns.
Really?
So it's great.
More and more yardage.
Oh, yeah.
Flashback. Thanks to Above All Dreams Productions. For Gator Flashback, I'm Wayne Fields, and we're brought to you by Call Ricky, Ask Ricky. If you've been in an auto accident and suffered bodily injuries, property damage, and lost wages, you need to call Ricky and ask Ricky at 1-844-361-7425. Call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call Ricky, ask Ricky now. Participating lawyers pay to receive referrals. Flashback.
Well, it's about time for the Gators to take the football field, and finally time to get that Gator gear on again. Now, you've probably got the shirts, the tanks, the tees, and the hats, but I bet you don't have enough accessories to accompany the orange and blue. But one visit to Oaks Jewelry will get you looking as good as the Gators do on the field. For more than 30 years, Oaks Jewelry has been making people all over town sparkle with a great selection of quality fine jewelry, the best possible prices. Engagement rings, necklaces, bracelets, diamonds, pendants, handbags, watches, and just watch. All the compliments you're going to get with a piece you pulled from Oaks Jewelry. Proud member of the Gainesville Area Chamber of Commerce, Oaks Jewelry is a one-stop shop for all your jewelry needs. So check them out online at oaksjewelry.com, or you can find them on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram.
From the UF Weather Center, here is your WRUF weather update.
A tropical storm is likely to develop just to our east this weekend, but I'm expecting near normal late summer weather here across inland areas of north central Florida. A spotty shower this evening and then a few more of them tomorrow, maybe some heavier downpours on Sunday as that system gets closer. Otherwise partly sunny and highs over the weekend near 90. For the latest on the tropics, you can download our mobile app, Florida Storms. I'm Jeff Huffman.
Got an Amazon smart speaker? Don't miss any of the action of your Gators just by saying, Alexa, enable WRUF skill. Then all you need to do is say, Alexa, open WRUF. Now you can sync up the audio to your TV. ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Welcome back to the Tailgate here on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF. Bro Holcomb here with PG. Don't forget, tomorrow, 3 o'clock, our pregame coverage for the Kentucky-Florida game. We'll start. Steve Russell will be on, and then 3 hours of the network, and then an hour after the game, Steve will be back taking your calls.
I am excited, man. It's the SEC season. This is like the real season. I mean, we had week 0 where we played Miami, and that was great. But this is what I've been waiting for. We're going on the road, going for some revenge. I'm excited. I'll have it on somewhere around 3. I'll be done with all my chores and everything else. But not going up there this year. Kentucky's a long way. It's like going to New York. It's that far, or Jersey. It's just you have to. You're in West Virginia almost. Anyway. So the Titan MRI contest, right now we got 3 questions for you. Okay, go ahead and email Jeff in the inbox, or you can DM, direct message, Instagram. The 3 questions are 48 over under. Taking the over, you taking the under. Will Felipe Franks account for 4 touchdowns? And no, an interception to the other team for a touchdown does not count. Offensive touchdowns. And as well, will Florida end what they've been doing the last couple games and start fast, and will they score 10 or more points in the first quarter? And that's it.
That's it. Let's head back to the phones. 392-8255 is on the call. Boss Gator, you're on WRAF. What's going on, man?
PG.
What's up, man? I almost put my sunglasses on because I knew you were calling, so I was like ready to look cool. I got them on now. But you're driving. You're not looking at me.
Oh, man, I tell you what. I'm so glad that you're real, man. That guy is. I just lost all total respect for him to say that Joe Burrows is their best player in college football right now.
I was shocked.
What about the quarterback at Oklahoma, man?
But here's the thing with Pro Football Focus that people fail to remember. It's all about analytics. It's not the eyeball test.
Yeah, but his numbers have been crazy too.
But it's not just completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, interceptions. It is a complex thing that they're doing.
And time, Boss Gator. He does it over 2 years. So Hurts didn't play much last year, so he's moving up. You get what I'm saying? He does it over a 2-year regression.
But you can't tell. I mean, Burrows didn't beat anybody last year, and he was just a manager last year.
And Texas.
I think
isn't that great either? I mean, do you think Texas is honestly, Boss Gator? Let me ask you this: they're probably a little.
I looked at the game again. I see no defense.
Thank you. Does Miami have a better defense than Texas?
Yeah.
Arguable.
I'm gonna tell you what. Everybody drinks the juice from the media. Like the media loves the story, the narrative of LSU being good. But if LSU is going to throw the ball for 400 yards, I love it. It plays into our strength. We have a great DBs, and we have an excellent D-line. So if you're telling me that LSU is going to throw the ball 40 times a game, I love it because that just going to highlight our defensive line.
And they're rushing. They're rushing to the line of scrimmage. Maybe by the time they play Florida, they might be they're already pretty proficient at it, but you can make mistakes trying to play too fast. Burrow was getting upset at the referees because they weren't setting the ball fast enough. You remember that?
So, like, styles make fights. I tell you what, that junk ain't going to work in the SEC. That is not going to work in SEC, and he's not that special. He's not that special to where he's going to be one of those type of generational quarterbacks that beats Alabama. I'm telling you right now, he's just a glorified manager, and they don't have any more special of a wide receiver than Alabama. Alabama has 4 guys as good. That's garbage, man. I think really that's what's wrong, man. That's why fans are taking over. That's why fans are getting blogs. That's why fans are reading and filtering, and that's why media is struggling so much because people ain't just taking everything they say, man. It's something about watching the game with your eye.
But I will counteract with that because I was in the media for 15 years, and I will say that fans, they watch with the colored, for Florida fans, orange and blue glasses and don't see the full picture all the time. And that's the difference between media. I was an Eagles fan. I covered the Eagles. I had to take my Eagles hat off and go in there, and I was probably one of the more critical people up there that was criticizing that team over and over again when they were screwing up.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna give you the difference in college football.
There is no difference. Media is media.
Let me explain what I'm saying. In college football, to understand the landscape in college, you really got to watch all the games. So a college football fan is a little bit more up on the whole. I mean, if you're gonna be legit, you got to be up on the whole thing to know who's good and who's not, and to see how it affects your team. You know, in 2006, we don't get there without Texas upset Nebraska, without Arizona losing. So and the same thing in 96. So in college, it's different. You're rooting for other teams, different weekends. You need certain upsets. It's a little different. But what I'm saying is, as I listen to the media today, the media is struggling. The media is struggling for access. The media, because they're trying to put words. They need sound bites instead of just dealing with give you a prime example. All of our media is trying to make it that Florida is getting revenge. And it's obvious the coaches are smart. They're saying, look, stay away from the revenge. We're going to play each game as a game. Then you get mad when they do coach speak because they want to write an article and have an agenda. Listen, Kentucky is not our rival. They're SEC opponent. And we're going to beat their behind this week because we're better than them. They had their generational players. Snell, he went to the NFL back. They had generational DN. It took them 31 years to beat us, but that's not the storyline. Florida is back. Listen, have you looked at the numbers of how we have been so dominant in the East? We're 31-1 against Kentucky in the last 32 years. We're 21-7 against Georgia in the last 30 years. Vanderbilt, we're 27-1 in the last. Listen, we own the East. Even against Tennessee, we're like 23-7. But none of the narrative is like Georgia's been there, like they've been there forever. That's crazy. If anything's going on in the East, you gotta consider Florida first. Am I wrong?
No, I agree with everything you said, because you can't not agree with that because it's facts. And I feel the same way. I mean, Georgia, they win that national title a couple years ago. I'd give them a little bit more credit, but I agree with what you said. And, with college football, it's harder to gauge who is better than somebody else, especially 2 games in. Like, we can use LSU as the perfect example. I don't think Texas is that good. They showed flashes last year. So Burrow and LSU goes in there and wins. And I hate using this word because everybody uses it now, but the narrative is LSU is back and they're changed their offense. And I got to see that. So Florida gets no credit for beating Miami, who I think is probably one of the better defenses they're going to face. I know they lost to North Carolina, but I still think that's a good defensive unit. And I was there. I saw it. I know what they were facing. And the game was chippy.
And your eyes don't lie.
No,
your eyes don't lie. Like that.
Chippy.
Like that's a fast.
They wanted to beat
legit team.
It was a rivalry game that Miami was playing. It was just that kind of game. I don't know if Texas LSU was going through that.
Well, what about this? The announcer, he gets on Felipe Franks about talking to the crowd. The quarterback from LSU talking to the crowd. He's waving and doing all that.
That's different, though. Who was Felipe talking to, and who was Burrows talking to? Which fan base? Which fan base? Answer the question. Which fan base?
He's talking to Texas fan base.
And who was Felipe talking to? The Florida fan base.
It's a dual site.
He was talking to the Florida. If you look, he's talking to Gator fans that were chomping at him.
The point is that they make the narrative that they want, and they don't. And it's kind of like it's not fair. It's not fair that Florida wins on a neutral site, in-state rival. You win first game of the year, not taking into consideration that they had shorter camps. They had all of the adversity.
They didn't have a shorter camp. They started a week early. All right, we got to let you go. We're up on a break. Thanks for the call there, Boss Gator.
Boss Gator makes a lot of really good points.
He does.
He's very strong with his opinion, which is, I love it. I love listening to people with their opinions, especially when it's about college football. In my office, I got to be real careful. Religion, politics, and college football. I'll be cut half of my visits if I use those things incorrectly. But he has a point. I thought Florida didn't get any credit, and they dropped 4 spots for winning the game.
And I agree with you on that.
But
Texas was in the top 10.
Yeah, no, I'll give it to them
on the coaches poll too.
Yep, and I agree.
3928255 is the number to call. We're back after this break. You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WREF.
Here's what's trending now on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Good evening, I'm Zach Cohen. The Gators football team plays their first true away game tomorrow against the Kentucky Wildcats. To catch the Gators' first SEC matchup, tune in here tomorrow at 3 p.m. The Gators volleyball team beat USF 3-1 earlier today and will finish off their doubleheader against James Madison tonight at 6:50 p.m. Following last night's 4-0 victory over FGCU, the Gators soccer team hopes to get back to 500 against Miami on Sunday. Finally, there's lots of high school football action tonight, including 7 p.m. games of Gainesville at Oakleaf and Buchholz at Atlantic Coast, with Wacola at Santa Fe, Eastside at Menendez, Pensacola Pine Forest at Columbia, and PK Young at Tallahassee, Florida High among the 7:30 games. For ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF, I'm Zach Cohen.
ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
I got a lot of street cred for my lingo over the summer hyping up the Mealy Pop shop, and I love doing it because Jameel and the crew were absolutely fantastic.
Let's try this, Jeff. Let's test your street cred out. What time is it?
Game time. Whoop.
He still got it. Jeff still got it. Well, we're always prepped for game time at the Mealy Pop shop. Football season is in full effect, and we have all of your Gator and NFL sports cards and memorabilia. Come participate in our free NFL Pick'em Challenge for weekly prizes as well.
Well, Jameel, prizes are awesome because with every pack you open, you got a chance for a great prize, don't you?
Yeah, man, and fall is an awesome time for the NBA, MLB, and NHL as well. We buy and trade almost anything and are always stocked with the newest Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, Leaf, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Funko releases. So come on in.
And you can always find the Mealy Pop shop on Facebook, Instagram, or just Google Mealy Pops, located right by Santa Fe College on 39th Avenue. It's always game time here on the Tailgate, and it's always game time at the Mealy Pop shop.
You deserve more from your workout. Orange Theory gives you more community, more push, more sweat, more tech, more energy, and more results. At Orange Theory, we challenge your heart and your body to do more, with more coaching, more feedback, and more science. Because the more you do at Orange Theory, the more you get out of life. Visit orangetheory.com today and schedule a free session at our Millhopper or Butler Plaza studios.
It's known as a small place with a big taste. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're really missing out. The place that's been voted best cheesesteaks in Gainesville, it's called Big Mills. Serving 100% top butt sirloin, 100% chicken breast on their cheesesteak sandwiches, Big Mills has a big taste. They also offer sausages, hot dogs, burgers, and salads with a baseball theme inside that every diehard is going to want to see. They've also got ice cream and milkshakes to wash it all down, so come on down to 2111 13th Street, right next to Adam's Ribs, and see why Big Mills is a small place with a big taste.
This is Freddie Pearson with Pepin Realty. After working for the Gators in the ticket office for 14 years, I now help the Gators with the buying and selling process of their homes and properties. I've lived in Gainesville my entire life, growing up a Gator fan of all sports, and know this area and the real estate market very well. My 12 years of experience I would love to share with you and help you through the buying and selling with ease. Call me today at 352-317-6530. Again, that's 317-6530 to experience buying and selling with knowledge you can trust. Go Gators.
Hi, welcome to the UPS store.
Yeah, I'd like to ship this package.
Great, I can help you with that and every other ing.
Did you just say every other ing?
Printing, packing, copying, faxing, freighting, any ing your small business needs.
Shredding.
Yep.
Mailboxing.
Uh-huh.
Notarizing?
That too.
Wow, that's really some ing.
Now you're getting it.
The UPS Store. Every ing for small business. And of course, shipping. The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
The Tailgate is brought to you by Davis Gainesville Chevrolet Cadillac, the official hometown automotive partner of the Florida Gators.
This is Florida Gators head coach Dan Mullen, and you're listening to The Tailgate on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF, the flagship of the Florida Gators.
Speaking of the Northeast, little Dan Mullen from the Northeast.
Yeah, man.
Went to Ursinus College. Same time my best friend was up there, so my best friend was always telling me we probably were hanging out with Mullen because he used to hang out at his frat all the time.
I mean, you were so close.
So, and the funny thing is, I finally got to meet Coach Mullen in passing this past year, and we were just talking. He's like, "Why don't you go to high school?" And I told him, he's like, "Yeah, they got a good football program right there." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I was recruiting up there." So
nice.
Like,
so that'd be cool to get somebody from your area.
Yeah.
The game, though, going back to Florida, Kentucky,
sure.
My take on it. I'm just going to say it now. I got a good feeling. I think Florida's going to go up there and they're going to start fast. I think that's something that Mullen wants to push right now because of the last two games, and he's not happy. Did you see him when he came out?
Oh, did I?
I think
I heard him.
I think you won't get that in the pregame speech, but you're going to get a version of that because you can't. I don't want to use the term, but you've got to save something. But I think they're going to come out stronger. I think they're going to score some points, and they're going to exploit Kentucky and get on a roll, and they're going to get hot in this game, and they're going to win pretty big.
Yeah, like I said, I think that first quarter is going to be the telling sign because I think amped up for that first quarter. Second quarter comes, the wheels could come off in Kentucky, but I think that first quarter it's going to be tight.
All right.
So
I see it.
Ryan, Woody, Clay, hang on. We got to hit the top of the hour. When we come back, we'll get your calls. 392-8255 is the number to call. You listen to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Gainesville, ESPN 98.1 FM and 850 AM WRUF, the home of the Florida Gators.
I'm Steve Spurrier, sometimes called the head ball coach, and I'm here to tell you I got the SUV that I drive from Davis.
Yeah, Coach, that's right. The word is out, and everybody is loving what's going on at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet. I was actually over there the other day, saw more than 30 Camaros, 80 Equinox, more than 120 new Chevy Silverados. But the best part was the dealership was all decked out in Gator colors. So what's that mean, Coach?
If you bleed orange and blue, Davis is the place for you. Davis Automotive Group, the official hometown automotive partner of the Florida Gators.
Well, in the hometown is what it's all about because Davis is locally owned and operated, and they offer some of the largest inventory in North Central Florida. With that huge volume, well, that means the lowest price.
Trust. It's everything at Davis Gainesville Chevrolet.
Well, and we trust that you'll make the smart decision and head to Davis Gainesville Chevrolet today.
This is Steve Spurrier reminding you that real Gators drive Davis.
At Sunstate Federal Credit Union, it's not about the money. It's about you, the member. When you become a member, you quickly realize that it's about a sense of purpose, belonging to something bigger than any one of us alone. Sunstate wants to remind you that your financial future is about more than just having an account. It's about ownership. It's about responsibility. And it's about teaching the next generation the importance of doing something bigger in life. When you're talking about a local financial institution like Sunstate, it's not about making decisions based on whether it maximizes profits. It's about the idea of whether it's a strong or a poor decision for us. It's about pooling our resources into a cooperative financial institution to help us all live better lives while making our communities better places to live and raise families. Now come and see for yourself what a community-owned financial institution like Sunstate can offer you. You can find them on the web at sunstatefcu.org, on Facebook, and branches throughout the area. Sunstate Federal Credit Union, federally insured by the NCUA.
MRI.
Everyone is raving about Titan MRI with the highest rated MRI facilities in town. Titan MRI is the place to go. Titan MRI is the only locally owned and operated MRI center in town. Joe and his staff have more than 2 decades of experience in Gainesville, and they've helped heal thousands of athletes in the local area. At Titan MRI, the average scan time is 10 to 15 minutes, so you'll have plenty of time to get back to work and living a life pain-free. Don't wait. Tell your doctor to refer you to Titan MRI or call them today at 672-6644.
This program is paid for by Talking Reds, LLC.
It's happy hour, and that means we continue the tailgate with Jeff Cardozo. Brought to you by Davis Gainesville Chevrolet and Cadillac, the official hometown automotive partner of the Florida Gators, and also in part by Sun State Federal Credit Union. Now here's Jeff on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF.
All right, welcome back. ESPN Gainesville, WRUF 98.1, streaming live on Facebook Live. Got a contest right now, Titan MRI. 3 questions, okay? 3 questions. Answer them right, might win yourself a Jumpman polo. Will the Gators and Kentucky combine over under 48? Are you picking over under? Will Felipe account for 4 touchdowns? Running, throwing, 4 touchdowns. And will the Gators score more than 10 points or more in the first quarter? DM those, direct message those to Instagram, or hit Jeff up in the inbox at the email and give yourself a chance to win.
392-8255 is the number to call. Head back to the phones. I really don't want to talk to this guy, and I don't think you want to talk to him either. He's a Braves fan.
Who's that? Oh, yeah.
You know, do you want them the Braves and the Nationals to tie tonight?
Yeah.
Just not play the game. Ryan, you're on WRUF. What's going on, man?
Good afternoon. My name is Ryan. I'm calling on behalf of the North Florida Braves Club. We're trying to get a petition signed to get the Braves back on 8:50 a.m.
And TBS.
Yeah,
and TBS.
You know, I watched a lot of Braves games growing up. I mean, when they weren't good, and Ken Oberkfell and Bob Horner. Remember that? That was a good time.
I remember '93.
A lot of years. That was called the '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all the '80s. They had a couple of early years with Murph and early '80s.
And Ryan, that was 3 stadiums ago, right? Because they've built 2 since they played in Atlanta, Fulton County.
Yes, sir. Well, you win 14 straight Eastern divisions, and even if you don't get but one World Series out of it, I guess you can go and build a couple of stadiums.
2. I still remember.
I was surprised when the one only lasts 20 years. I was surprised at that, but the new one is a gym, man.
Yeah.
It is. It's nice.
It's nice.
I still remember Sid Bream sliding into home plate with that big knee brace on. That's like one of my Braves Atlanta Fulton County memories.
Yeah, if you call that a slide. I don't think
you remember it. See, you remember it.
He's not doing any skill drills, I can assure you of that.
Nope.
He got under the throw.
Yes, he did.
But it's cute, that little wild card talk y'all got going on there. That's real cute. I like that.
See, I was rooting for the Braves to maybe knock off L.A., but now, you know, you throw in little jabs. You just finished the rebuild, so, you know, they can go either way still. You got some young players, but, you know, you got to win. You got to win 14 straight before we start hearing that talk.
I know. If I'm being honest, I don't want either one of y'all in there, because I don't want to have to face DeGrom in a series, and I just don't want the Phillies in because they gave Harper all that money, and I just think it's funny if they don't make the playoffs after dropping $330 million or whatever it was.
Well, they forgot to get pitchers. That's the problem.
For his lifetime. Well, how many are they going to be able to afford now?
Oh, our owner's got money like Steinbrenner, so we're good.
Got to spend it. But anyway, hey, so the stuff Boffgater was saying, and of course, you know, he's got that same take about the media pretty much for as long as I've been hearing him on the radio. But you know, the one thing I will say, I was a little perplexed with the choice of Alabama and South Carolina over Florida, Kentucky, especially after Kentucky beat us last year. I thought we had a chance at a 3:30 game, and then you see that that game day is going to Ames, Iowa for a 19th ranked team versus a non-ranked team. Like, I don't know, man. But we did get the first game of the year with a, complete, we were the only show in town. So I can't say that they're not giving Florida respect. But so there might be something there. But the historical thing, and we've owned the East and yada yada and whatever. I mean, that's great. You go back to 1990, and we did. And when they went to divisions, I mean, we've won a bunch of East titles, and Spurrier dominated. But look, just like I was joking with y'all about the Braves, I can do that because of the current situation.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to live in the now, dude. Like, what does it matter?
I agree.
Going back to 1990, I mean, the fact is we haven't won an SEC championship, and this would be 11 years. And we won only a couple of the East, and we won a couple of the East with McElwain because the rest of the East sucked. And then Georgia starts getting good, and now, so I don't know. I don't get his whole 31-1 and 32-1 and all this against Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and that don't mean nothing. All that matters is tomorrow, dude. What did you do last year? And you got 365 days to wait till the next year to avenge it or whatever. So I don't know what all that meant.
Yeah, I'm reminded by that SEC championship drought, when I go and I run the stadiums, because it's up there, and I sit and I rest for a little while sometimes, and I just look around, and they've done a great job, by the way, in there. It looks really clean. Everything's beautiful. I love it. Strickland and them are just, it's going to get nothing but better. But you see that long, it's been too long with the SEC championship not coming here. I think we'll see one. I really do under Mullen, but it's 11 years. That's a long time.
And how many coaches?
Well, that's part of the problem.
Right.
You had a couple. We had momentum, and we can't go into that. But the coaching. That's what did it. We lost momentum, but I feel like now we're on an upward trend.
Sure.
Yeah, the defense has always been a pretty constant. And I mean they were a little up down, but I think now we got Mullen here. I think he's the coach. He's still in his late 40s. He's proven himself to be a great coach already in the SEC. And I think he'll be a lifer here. And I think with that consistency, and he starts getting these quarterbacks in where. I think we definitely will start winning some, but I don't know what we've done before now, really matters. But, and like I said, it sucks to lose. You would love to continue to always beat, but the fact that they did beat us last year, it's just, to me, it's amping this game up even more. It's like, it's the first SEC game, and they finally freaking beat us, and we're on the road, and man, let's see. This is where we really start to find out what we're made of.
All right, so before we let you go here, Ryan, what are you predicting tomorrow?
I got us 34-13.
Okay, that's about where I'm at.
Yeah, because I think I'm not convinced that we're going to come out and blow them off the front line and run the ball more just because of last week we didn't, and I think fans would naturally expect it. I think that Felipe is still going to check down. We're still going to have that horizontal passing game, but I think when you see what the kid did last week against them and listening to some of their people that cover them, the Kentucky guys saying, I think their secondary is a little weak. So I think we can exploit that with our skill players. And, I mean, dude, I don't care what this kid did last year, Dollar General Bowl, Family Dollar Bowl, Pick and Save Bowl. He's he's getting his first start against a real defense, and I don't see them putting up too many points unless something fluky happens.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Ryan.
All right, fellas, enjoy your little wild card festivities, and I'll catch y'all next week.
Go Nationals!
It's gonna be so hard for me to root for the Braves.
I know.
Now he's throwing jabs when we were making friends. We were trying to be friendly. We're in the hunt, and now I got to hear this, and it's like an FSU fan coming at me.
So quick story before I go to Woody. 93 Phillies, and that was when there was only an East and West.
Oh, huge!
Remember?
Yeah, I know. That's what I grew up with.
So I had a bunch of my friends over at my house were watching the NL championship, and the Phillies and Braves were playing. The game that the Phillies won to go to the World Series, my one buddy that's a Braves fan over, he's talking so much trash. We're gonna kill you, blah 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 blah. And I think it was like the fifth inning. All of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, guys, I gotta go." We're like, right.
Nice.
Typical Braves fan. All right, Woody, you're on WR. What's going on, man?
Yeah, hey, guys. Hey, at least your teams are still in it. My team sucks this year.
Which one's that?
Boston. Woody's a Boston guy.
Oh, yeah, thank goodness.
4 championships this century, so I'm not going to complain too much. But
that's a bump.
It's been pretty weird this year. You know, like they had an extended spring training, and then they gave out their rings, and they never stopped looking at them rings. It's just been horrible. But whatever, I'm still smiling because my boys are, they won last year, and that's all you can expect is to, be in it. So
that's right.
I'm good. I'm going to hang in there, and it's just kind of weird how this year's played out. I mean, they've pretty much given up now. It's AAA tryouts now. That kind of sucks.
You're not a Patriots fan, are you?
My wife is. No, I don't have much use for the NFL. I find the NFL pretty boring.
Me too,
so
to a degree.
I don't watch
I enjoy it, but I don't have a team, and for that reason, I don't have what you have.
Oh.
Mr. Holcomb,
Love the NFL.
That Gator, like the way I feel about the Gators, I don't have that. So I'm just watching
I don't
players.
anymore. I used to be a big Cowboys fan, but
God,
I gave up on them when they got T.O. I said I'm done. And since then, they've had other criminals on the team, and I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
Oh, they had criminals before T.O. too.
I go with the Celtics. I go with the Bruins, but Patriots, I'm just like, whatever.
Well, what are you thinking about this Florida game? Because I know it's on your mind. So what's your take?
Well, I'm encouraged that you think that they're going to start fast and they're going to smack somebody. But I guess I'm from Missouri today because I'm like, I haven't seen anything that makes me think that this team is going to start fast on the road, SEC team, and smack somebody. So, I'm waiting and seeing. I think they're going to win. I think it's one of those games like Jeff had me convinced with Miami that if we play clean, we win. So I think it's one of those games. Especially on the road, you don't help the other team. I think we're going to win. I think the only way Kentucky wins is if we give them the ball a bunch or something.
Agreed.
So, but I expect a decent game. I don't expect a blowout. I don't expect a 10-9 game. 30-17, 27-13, something like that. A couple of scores. But I'm encouraged that you think you've seen enough that you think we might actually smack them.
No. The reason I'm saying that is this is where my logic comes from, and it's my logic. It's my logic. It's my logic, so it might not be that accurate. But it is based on some precedents of the coach. So he was upset with that first half. I saw him, and they came out in the second half against UT Martin. Boom. I like how the majority of the time he makes adjustments, and I think it's important to him and his staff that they come out tomorrow with a different feeling to start the game. I think they've recognized that this is not the way we need. We don't need to come out like this anymore. We don't need to come out like gangbusters and blow it all in the first quarter, but we need to come out a different team, or it's going to hurt us. It's going to hurt Florida in the future. So I feel like he's identified that and he makes adjustments. So based on that, I'm predicting they come out fast tomorrow.
Maybe he'll take the ball and try to shut the crowd up right from the start.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? We catch something over. They've got 3 young guys playing in their secondary. Very young. I want to say freshmen. They gave up a ton of yards in the air so far against teams that shouldn't be doing what they've done. So even if Florida can't run the ball, we should be able to throw the ball. I heard Shane say this week that he feels like we're going to throw the ball a lot this week. So I don't know. I just I add all those things up, and I just got trust in Mullen making the adjustment. That's why.
Coach Mullen likes those long handoff passes. So
especially in the first quarter.
And that spreads them out. That helps. And then later in the game, you can run the ball right at them because they're thinking they got to guard the whole field.
Yeah.
So that'll work. I wanted one last comment. I'm no Tennessee fan. I laugh at Tennessee all I can, but I got to tell you, this thing with this 4th grade kid with the orange T-shirt and a piece of paper pinned to his shirt, just to show college spirit day at his school, and he gets bullied by a pack of crummy girls. Well, not only did they take that T-shirt and put it, they made a model of it. Tennessee did, and put it on their sports sales website, but they sent him a whole bunch of real T-shirts. Now, did you know that they offered him a scholarship?
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome.
Super cool.
That is cool. I mean, they need all the good pub they can get right now, and that I'm giving props to another SEC school because that is really cool, and so poke them girls in the eye. I got a scholarship. What you got?
Yeah. No,
I think that's great.
Yeah, I do too.
I work with kids, a lot every day, and that, That hit me pretty hard in the chest too, Woody. I really like that, and I like the sketch. I almost want to get one of those shirts. If if UT does something against somebody other than Florida that helps Florida, I'm gonna buy one of those for Dooley, because Dooley likes these little sentimental shirts. I'm gonna get a couple of those. So they got to do something.
Florida State, he gets their shirt or something like that?
Yeah, he got a Boise State shirt, and we don't know if it came in, but he was going to wear it on the plane if he got it. He wears this every time something that's kind of related or a big win, he'll get the shirt. So Tennessee's got to do something, and he'll get that shirt.
When I was 8 or 9 years old, O.J. Simpson was my hero. I was that kid. I had one of those old school gray sweatshirts. Mm-hmm. I had cut the sleeves kind of short. I took a black magic marker and I put 32 on the back of it. And some of my friends kind of made fun of me. I couldn't get my parents to go out and buy me cool shoes and real jerseys and stuff. So when I saw this story, I was like, yeah, that's cool. Because that kid took more crap than I did. Everybody picked on everybody back then, but that kid really took some crap. And I think it's cool that what comes around, what goes around comes around there.
Yep. Everybody's going to wear that shirt
totally
in
agree.
Knoxville. Yeah. All right, Woody.
Very cool.
Have a good weekend, man.
Somebody that we haven't talked about, and I haven't heard anybody today at least, Jacob Copeland.
Mm-hmm.
I already know what his physical numbers are in the weight room and what he runs, and I've met him when he was a high school senior. Me and Zach were at Friday Night Lights, and he comes up, had a good relationship with Zach. But I finally got to see him in extended play, and he reminds me so much. And I was hopeful for this, but I'm shocked how much he reminds me of Percy. Even the way he walks back to the huddle. They lined him out split. He came in, he took the handoff, unlike any receiver in Florida out of that backfield, and he's dynamic. That's another reason I'm thinking, Tony's not going to play, and we'll go over the injury report later, but we don't lose much there. And if anything, this could be this kid's coming out party.
It could be.
I'm impressed.
Clay, Philip, hold on. We got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll get your calls. 392-8255. This number to call. You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
No, on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Good evening, I'm Zach Cohen. The Gators football team starts conference play tomorrow as they face the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington. Catch all the coverage for that game here at 3 p.m. Elsewhere in the Gator Nation, the Gators volleyball team beat USF 3-1 earlier today. The team then will face James Madison at 6:50 p.m. tonight, and you can catch all the coverage right here. Following last night's 4-0 victory over FGCU, the Gators soccer team turned their sights to Miami on Sunday at 6. Finally, in baseball news, the Tampa Bay Rays travel to Anaheim tonight to kick off their series against the Angels. That game is a scheduled start time of 10:07 p.m. For ESPN 98.1 FM 850 AM WRUF, I'm Zach Cohen.
ESPN 98.1 FM 850 AM WRUF.
With my many jobs come many a miles on the good old pickup truck, going from one job to the next at all hours of the day. Heck, I put over 55,000 miles in 2 years. But that's got nothing in comparison to all the miles that are on the vintage electric vans in town, because I can just about guarantee you I see one every time I'm on the road. But when you're completing hundreds of large commercial projects and heading to thousands upon thousands of houses to do work, well, you're certainly going to be seen. Jeff Cardozo here. I've seen firsthand how great Mike and his crew are at Vintage Electric. They've done everything I've asked for around the house, and with my wife being a designer, the demands can get pretty out of hand. Mike's mission combines a craftsmanship and work ethic from days gone by with the technology of today to give you the highest quality product there is. Now, I'm sure you're starting 2019 with a million projects on the table. If any of them involve electricity, well, tell the better half you've got those covered and call Vintage Electric today. No job's too small. They do it all. Their phone number, 371-8021, or visit them online at vintageelectric.net. Well, I think we all know how hot it gets in north central Florida. It's sometimes unbearable at times to even be outside over the summer. But for me, it was just as unbearable to be inside because my house just wouldn't cool down. So I knew it was finally time to do something about it, and thanks to Kirk and his team at Crystal Air, my phone call turned into a life changer. They told me my unit was as old as Pat Dooley is, and the air wasn't traveling through the house correctly, and it was time to get with the times. So I took advantage of 0% financing for 60 months on a brand new Trane unit, was also able to take advantage of some rebates from Trane. And even though they are Trane Comfort Specialists, which is the highest contractor rating by Trane, Crystal Air and Water works on all brands out there, and the repair services are as fast as my fastball was back in the day, and they'll be there today if you need them to come out and see what's wrong. With my new Trane variable speed system, the temperature has evened up throughout the house, there is much lower humidity, and the unit is even generator friendly if need be. So if you need your AC unit looked at, call Crystal Air at 333-0460 because they aren't comfortable until you are. Well, it's about time for the Gators to take the football field, and finally time to get that Gator gear on again. Now, you've probably got the shirts, the tanks, the tees, and the hats, but I bet you don't have enough accessories to accompany the orange and blue. But one visit to Oaks Jewelry will get you looking as good as the Gators do on the field. For more than 30 years, Oaks Jewelry has been making people all over town sparkle with a great selection of quality fine jewelry, the best possible prices. Engagement rings, necklaces, bracelets, diamonds, pendants, handbags, watches, and just watch. All the compliments you're going to get with a piece you pulled from Oaks Jewelry. Proud member of the Gainesville Area Chamber of Commerce, Oaks Jewelry is a one-stop shop for all your jewelry needs. So check them out online at oaksjewelry.com, or you can find them on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram.
Hi, welcome to the UPS store.
Yeah, I'd like to ship this package.
Great, I can help you with that and every other ing.
Did you just say every other ing?
Printing, packing, copying, faxing, freighting, any ing your small business needs.
Shredding.
Yep.
Mailboxing.
Uh-huh.
Notarizing?
That too.
Wow, that's really some ing.
Now you're getting it.
The UPS Store. Every ing for small business. And of course, shipping. The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
Well, true Gators know how to tailgate, and what better way to party than hanging out at the Cracker Barrel in Gainesville September 18th. It's the annual ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF tailgate. Festivities will start at 2 o'clock, and then Pat Dooley and yours truly, Jeff Cardozo, will broadcast live at 4 o'clock with the tailgate. You can come by and pick up the new 2019 Gator fan shirt and also hang out with Albert, Alberta, and the Gator cheerleaders. Stop by for your chance to win tons of prizes September 18th from 2 to 6 at the Cracker Barrel. We'll see you there.
The Tailgate is brought to you by Davis Gainesville Chevrolet Cadillac, the only dealership in town that's the official partner of the Florida Gators. Real Gators drive Davis.
Welcome back to the Tailgate here on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF. Brett here with PG, and Jake's fist pumping out there.
Yeah, that just the beat dropped.
Yep.
Lil Wayne says, "Let the beat drop." I love the bump music. I think it's really good.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you pick all that out, don't you? I got a couple suggestions though.
Okay.
Just a couple. We'll talk about that later.
Sure.
But
Jake's gonna chime in.
The bump music hasn't changed.
I put some new stuff in there.
There's some new stuff. I'm telling you.
Worked here for 5 years. It's the same.
Oh no, that's not true.
Speaking to the man that changed it.
there's some stuff that's been in there for 5 years.
Now,
there's some
what
stuff.
we haven't done today is sing. Jeff's definitely got the best voice. Although Zach is pretty. You saw the rap video?
I don't know if Jeff's got a good
Now,
voice.
I put myself ahead of Dooley. So, because, we got to put some jazz on for me to really break it down. But we're not singers.
We're going to have karaoke night and see who's the best one.
We'll do that. We got some calls, though.
Yeah.
So I know Philip's been waiting patiently.
Yeah, but Clay's been waiting a little longer.
Oh, Clay has.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Clay, you're on WRF. What's going on, man?
What's up with that, PJ? You trying to skip over me there?
They dropped down on the list on the prompter.
Dude, I've been on hold for almost 30 minutes.
And we
want
want to, and I actually really want to hear your take on this game.
Y'all been talking baseball, and so
I know you love the
I've
baseball.
been like almost trying to keep from falling asleep. That's probably why Ryan doesn't understand what Boss was talking about, because y'all are so enthralled with baseball, which that's fine,
Well, what's your take on Florida,
people
Kentucky?
have baseball, and that's cool. I watch baseball when the playoffs come. That's when I'll start watching it. But I got a question, Brett. When did T.O. become a criminal, man? That dude played Super Bowl for you guys on a broken leg.
No, I never said he was a criminal.
And you said you didn't say anything about it. You just said, well, they've had other criminals too.
Yeah, well,
he was a diva. He wasn't a criminal.
He was definitely. He was never. And I probably should. I apologize for saying that. He was, I love T.O. I'd be honest.
Yeah, T.O. was just a diva, man. He's a wide receiver diva. He ain't been in no trouble.
No, I agree with that.
Jones, now, that's a different story, when Jarrett signed Pac-Man Jones and stuff. But T.O.'s never been in any trouble, man. No. He's just a diva.
And how about that phrase?
That first Super Bowl for y'all on a broken leg.
Yes, he did. And how about that phrase? Better get your popcorn ready.
Yep.
You'll hear that forever.
Well, if you ever look,
one of the best ones ever. And then the crying, that's my quarterback. That's one of the best memes, too.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I use that one all the time.
Man.
I was actually in the driveway when Tia was doing his little sit-ups.
Oh, in the driveway. I remember that.
You were in the driveway recording that?
I was there, covering it for the radio station. I lived the town next to that. It was like 2 minutes from my house.
I was in Don't Tase Me, Bro, over here at the UF Auditorium. I was working the auditorium. We're famous. We are famous.
Yeah, there you go.
I still know the UPD officer that did that. He gave him a lot of chances. Anyway.
That was such an awesome video. That's right up there with the Atlanta mall cop guy that tased the chick with all the kids, and because she wouldn't stop messing with him. But
see how quick we get you off topic.
What Boss was talking about, Stuart Mandel. This is just a perfect example. Stuart Mandel, who's a national writer for The Athletic, comes out with his top 10 every Sunday or late Sunday, early Monday. Well, after Florida's game with Miami, 2 weekends in a row, even after, Florida bounced back and beat UT Chattanooga, didn't have them in their top 10, okay? They're constantly getting disrespected by the national media, while the flip side of that, you got a team like LSU. It happens every year, happened last year too. They get the benefit of the doubt, and they become the media darlings, okay? And it's frustrating for people like Boss and myself, which are so into college football and not really into baseball, when we're seeing national stuff come out, and Florida's just getting no respect. I mean, they play Miami, then they drop in the polls, which is ridiculous.
Agreed.
You have
I agree with
LSU that played a cupcake, and they jump in the polls. I mean, I know they beat Texas, but let's be honest here. What is one thing that they don't do in the Big 12?
Play defense.
Play defense, right?
Right. But just to play devil's advocate, Texas was in the top 10, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm not saying it wasn't a good win. I'm saying it wasn't the fact that it was. Let's talk about Burrows for Heisman, which is what they're talking about now. Let's talk about LSU challenging Bama and being able to go to the playoff when we basically have the same team as they do, and we beat them last year. I mean, wait for a few more games.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That is what Boss is talking about.
No, I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are saying that, and I hear it.
A lot of times people say they get tired of him talking about that or stuff like that, but I'm right there to champion him and co-sign with him on that, because we're big college football fans, and we're not into baseball like you guys are. So it's the thing that's going on for us right now.
But it's going on for me.
I'll tell you this: but Boss also goes after the local media too, and because they have a different opinion than Boss does, and that is media. Like Pat's a columnist. His job is to have an opinion, so it's not just it's what he sees. So he's so.
I'm gonna give you an example, Brett.
Sure.
I'm gonna give you an example. I live in Mississippi, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 SEC teams in this state.
Mm-hmm.
Florida is one of the only schools in the SEC that every beat writer is not a homer. If you listen to the radio here, and they have sports talk all day long on local shows on here too, every one of those beat writers are coming on, and they're not talking negatively about the team unless they have a loss when the year starts up. One thing that happens is when Pat goes on to Feinbaum, he gives his honest opinion, and it was proven the other day when he had Buddy Martin on there. Pat, doesn't talk, real glowingly about the football program. Well, people in the around the South take that and run with it and start to think the Gators are not going to be any good because of all their issues. And then you have somebody like Buddy Martin that comes on and talks to Paul, and it's a fact. It happened. He went on and, spoke about the Gators positively, and Paul literally said, Buddy, you're the first beat writer for the Gators that's been on my show that said anything positive about the program. He literally said that. So that's one of the things that happens when our beat writers go on these national shows and, whether it be their opinion, whether, them being honest or what have you, it starts a narrative that the Gators are not good. They got a lot of problems, all this kind of stuff. And we do, but it's not as bad as people portray it. And then the national guys take that and run with it. Then you have your Stuart Mandel 2 weeks in a row. Do not put the Florida Gators in the top 10. And people say, well, it doesn't matter. Just win the games. Well, for people like Voss and I that want to read articles and read about our team, we get tired of hearing the negative stuff about them, about how they're this, about how they're that. Hit pieces by Matt Baker and all that kind of stuff. It's garbage. I'm telling you, if you go around and look at these other teams, I guarantee you, if somebody wrote that about Nick Saban in Alabama, that piece by Matt Baker, Saban would have had his butt fired. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It only happens to UF. I mean, the other day with the press conference with Willie, it was like they gave him softballs. They didn't ask him any hard questions, and they let him off the hook about the hydration thing. I'm like, man, what is going on here? You know what I mean?
I will tell you, I worked in the media I've been in the media for, 22 years. Most of that up in Philadelphia in the Northeast. If we didn't ask tough questions,
that's a totally different ball game up there, Brett. But they're not negative. They're not, they're all the pro guys are negative. I mean, they're always trying to figure out even the college ones. You go up to Happy Valley, they're asking the tough questions up there. So I'm telling you, they're not doing it at Mississippi State. They're not doing it at Ole Miss. They're not doing it at Southern Miss. They come on and they just talk positively about the program.
The only thing I'd be worried about is maybe recruiting taking a hit from those things.
See, that's one of the things.
But I know.
But
listen. But here's what I'm telling you: the players don't watch. The high school players and most of the players on these teams do not watch Paul Feinbaum shows.
No,
they don't.
But they're seeing it on Twitter. PG.
They're seeing a lot of positive on Twitter too, but
it shows up on the timeline, and they're seeing it on Twitter.
I see what you're saying, but they're also seeing the positives. Watching their highlights on Twitter and being in the top 10, and Mullen being 13-3, and look at the flip side, exact inverse proportional to the guy that could have been here. That I'm glad he's not here.
Well, we need more of it. We need more of it.
Got to win. I feel like we're going to be fine.
Well, we're winning. Well, look at LSU. They're doing the same thing we're doing.
Let's put up a big game like they did, and let's see what happens. I agree with you.
We had a game against Miami, and it was. I know they lost the next week, but it was a rival game. It's a Power 5 opponent. And all this stuff that's been put out lately, Gil Brandt put out a tweet this morning about position by position, the college with the most players on NFL rosters right now. Miami had two of those categories, defensive ends and something else. UF had one, offensive lineman, but, there's positive stuff. Miami is not a bad program. And we should not have fallen in the polls after we beat them.
Agreed.
All right, Clay.
Y'all have a good one. Go
you
Gators.
too, buddy.
Have a good one. Never
heard his take on Kentucky. We got a game tomorrow, and I thought we were going to get some Kentucky talk. I know Philip's going to bring it after the break, but I want to hear how everybody feels we're going to come out tomorrow. What's the narrative on that? When did that word just take over? The narrative. It was like the walk-off home run or the narrative. So anyway.
All right, 392-8255 is the number. Call me, get back. We'll take your calls. You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
If it's happening with the Gator Nation, hear it here first. ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF.
Well, summertime always allows some traveling and some extra time to spend with a family. And of course, these are awesome times, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But now I'm definitely paying for the long car rides, tiny airplane seats, and all the dang yard work with the grass growing so quick. My back is about as hot as the recruiting has been for Dan Mullen of late, but my inflammation, not a good thing. So thank goodness for Dr. Paul Gardner and his chiropractic expertise. Jeff Cardozo here. Not only does PG, as we call him here on the show, know how to wow you on the radio, he's even better at his first love, and that's making sure the people of North Central Florida get the highest quality of care. Dr. Gardner has gotten rave reviews for his dedication and compassion with everybody he sees, and that's a lot of people. Sports injuries, auto injuries, neck or joint pain, or of course back pain are his specialties, and his techniques address the source of your pain and focus on the area that's bothering you the most. And most times, clients feel relief within 24 hours of their first treatment. So help yourself out. Call up Gardner Chiropractic at 727-4438.
Hey, it's Kyle from Leonardo's Millhopper. When people meet me for the first time, they always say three things. 1, don't change the recipes. 2, how long they've been coming to Leo's. And 3, don't change the recipes. Well, no worries. I'd much rather share a drink and listen to your stories than work in the kitchen. Come enjoy the delicious deep dish pizza and garlic knots you grew up with. Wash it down with a local beer or Italian wine. And now you can get your Sunday Funday on at Leo's with $2.75 mimosas. We'll see you soon at Leonardo's Millhopper. And don't forget to mention the Tailgate for 10% off anytime.
With the students back in Gainesville, the roads are flooded, the parking lots are packed, meaning more opportunities for dings and dents on your vehicle. Now, I say that with experience as someone decided to back right into me and didn't even leave a note. But thank goodness for recommendations because Bob and GT Motorcars made the damage disappear. They've been in the same spot on Main Street for almost 40 years and they guarantee their work with a lifetime warranty. No matter what insurance or what car, the result is the same. A no-hassle experience and a vehicle that comes back looking as good as the day you got it. So glad I called GT Motorcars at 371-0215.
Got your classic remodel here. Sonic Summertime BLT. See this foundation? A brioche bun brushed with basil aioli. You got a built-in layer of bacon right here. So tasteful. And a smooth coating of melty mozzarella to finish. Plus the chicken elevates everything, unlike your porch. See how it's leaning?
Yeah, you said you could help me with it?
Sure. Hand me your BLT.
Upgrade to Sonic Summertime BLTs starting at $3.99. Tax not included. See menu for details for limited time only.
At your locally owned and operated Sonic Drive-In of Gainesville. I've met so many small business owners over the years, and they've all talked about how they love being entrepreneurs and supporting the community, but what they don't love are all the headaches that come with being an employer. So if you want to spend less time dealing with that and more time growing your business, I encourage you to call Advantage Personnel Resources today. Advantage Personnel Resources is Gainesville's premier payroll and PEO provider, and they handle everything from payroll, HR, as well as offer pay-as-you-go workers' compensation. So don't let your business run you. Partner with Advantage Personnel Resources today.
From the UF Weather Center, here is your WRUF weather update.
A tropical storm is likely to develop just to our east this weekend, but I'm expecting near normal late summer weather here across inland areas in north central Florida. A spotty shower this evening and then a few more of them tomorrow, maybe some heavier downpours on Sunday as that system gets closer. Otherwise partly sunny and highs over the weekend near 90. For the latest on the tropics, you can download our mobile app, Florida Storms. I'm Jeff Huffman.
The Gator Nation is everywhere. Tampa. Thanks for streaming ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF. The flagship of the Florida Gators.
All right, welcome back. ESPN Gainesville, 98.1 WRUF in the beautiful University City, as some other people have said before. Right now we're going to talk about injuries because injuries are going to be pretty important in this game. We've been pretty lucky here at UF so far, other than a couple guys last week and some early camp injuries there. But going to run over Kentucky's players. The injury report brought to you by myself and Gardner Chiropractic. So everybody kind of knows about Terry Wilson. He tore the patella tendon in his knee, the quarterback for Kentucky. He's out for the year. And he's gotten a lot of snaps. He's started the whole year last year. That hurts. But also, Kentucky's also missing another quarterback, Nick Scalzo. Scalzo is also out for the year due to a torn ACL that he tore earlier in the year. They're also missing a wide receiver, Isaiah Epps, who would have been in the rotation, but not their best. On Florida's side, the two injuries from last week that were looking maybe they could be a little worse than what we thought there. After things shook out and some tests were ran, it looks like Kadarius Toney is out, and that is more of a wrist injury than it is a shoulder that's been reported. But he's maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks, could come back sooner. C.J. Henderson is dealing with a low ankle sprain, which is better than a high ankle sprain as far as longevity and maybe coming back. He might even suit up. Don't have any information about that. But if it was a bigger game, you'd probably see Henderson playing. Not that it's not a big game, but SEC championship, playoff kind of thing, you'd push him. He might suit up. If they're in trouble, he might play, but he's questionable. We've also got the normal C.J. McWilliams and David Reese out with 2 Achilles tears, so we already knew that. Other than that, Gators are looking at full strength. Like I said, Henderson could play. He might surprise us. I think the coaching staff wants to do what's right by him. He's projected to be a top player on this team and also at the next level. And also, Mr. Holcomb, we also have some news regarding Mr. Brad Stewart, who was the highest-rated player on Pro Football Focus's list.
Yep.
And I believe he is going to play tomorrow. So, yeah, I think his suspension was a little longer, but he's done everything that the coaching staff has asked him to do, and there's some talk and some sources that are saying that he's going to suit up tomorrow. Now, is that 100% accurate? We don't know, but with Henderson maybe not playing, Stewart would be a huge get in that secondary.
That would be good.
Yeah, so look for him to be out there. If he doesn't, then something else happened or it just wasn't in the cards, but that's really the rundown, and Florida should be in good shape. They're in a lot better shape than Kentucky because if you lose your quarterback, that's a big blow.
It is.
So
it is.
And Florida's got depth at those other positions, especially Toney. So I feel like they've got depth there. They've got guys that can play the slot. Henderson, they got to put some young guys out there, but I think it's not a dire situation for Florida.
Well, the phones are back. We'll get back to the 392-8255. I know Philip was holding for a while before we lost the phones. What's going on, Philip?
What's going on, my man?
How are you?
How you doing, Philip?
I'm doing good. Hey, I don't mind how I sit behind Clay. I always enjoy his conversations, and I totally agree with everything he said. Hey, I got a couple to talk about. First of all, the guy with the pro football, let me tell you why he made a fool of himself. And I thought you guys were going to pounce on him when he said it. So you ask him about Burris, well, he's great, he went to Heisman. And right now, then you asked about Franks, and he gave you his answer, and you said, okay, is that, because he struggled last year? And he goes, well, he struggled against Miami, and he didn't play anybody yet, so we're going to wait to see. And I was waiting for you to say, well, you told me Burris about this, and can you tell me who the hell he's played this year, okay? They went nuts over playing. Who the hell was their first game? Sisters of the Poor? Who was that anyway?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so he makes a big deal. So Burris plays one team. And number two, they play a team that wouldn't know defense if it got up and kicked them right in the rear end. We're talking about the Big 12. Is something changed? Like, did I fly back from another planet? It's the same crappy conference it's always been. There's no such thing as defense there. And to give you all this credit for doing something against a Big 12 defense is laughable. So they played nobody the first week. They went insane about LSU. We play a rival and win, and we fall. Okay, Miami's a great defense. We'll see what happens. Then they make a big deal about being a Big 12. Stop it. And you're telling me, it was a top 10 team. Are you freaking kidding me? These rankings at the beginning here mean nothing. They want Texas up there. You think Texas is really number 8 when they played that game? Hell no, they lost like 9 guys off their team last year. What's the quarterback? Ellinger? I've watched him for years. He's dumber than a box of rocks. The guy runs the ball. He's a terrible thrower. And LSU made him look great. So I'm going to tell you now, LSU's defense isn't what it's supposed to be. They gave up how many points to a crappy quarterback? I think you're going to find as the year goes on that LSU is the fraud. That defense isn't anything to where they think it is. So I don't want to hear any crap about they played a top 10 team. They did everything they could to get Texas up there in the top 10. That's the media darling. And as far as the LSU goes, thank you.
Philip, let me say one thing, though, before we move on, because you made some really good points. But I did address those with him. I told him my opinion was that Burrow basically shouldn't be there, and I did not believe Texas was the team that You
did.
And then I also said
did.
Florida, didn't get enough credit for the team that they beat, because if you separated just what Felipe faced and what Burrow faced defensively, I would take Miami's defense pretty quickly. I wouldn't even really have to think about it as far as the opponent, right? The tougher.
No, and you did. And the only thing I was yelling for you to do was to take it right to his face and say, wait a minute, you told me that you are basing Felipe on this year, and you mentioned a comment about Burris that if he acts like he did last year, we'll drop him, which then means then you're rating him on this year, or you wouldn't have made that comment. So I'd have turned right to him and saying, well, you said Felipe didn't play anybody. Miami's a good defense. Who the heck has LSU played? They played Texas and then a crappy team. They both played one good team. So why is one guy getting credit and the other guy you say, well, they haven't played anybody yet. We'll find out. I decided to throw it right back in his face that you just compared the same thing, apples and apples, but one guy's getting another rating. As far as the Kentucky game, look, guys, I've said this a million times. Kentucky's no different than they've always been. Can we stop this talk that Kentucky's better? What happened in the last 4 years, or last 8 years, or last idiot coaches we had? Florida and Tennessee has fallen back to Kentucky, okay? Stop this. Kentucky has not moved up to Florida and Tennessee. Both these programs have fallen on bad times they haven't seen in 30 years, okay? So Florida and Tennessee took a huge step back over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Wouldn't you say, especially the last 3? Kentucky looks better because we stepped backwards. They did. So they're no different than they always were. Florida is now rebuilding. We got a coach that knows what the hell he's doing. They will go up and lay the lumber to these idiots. And as years go on, people are going to go, oh, well, I guess the Stoops wasn't that good. No, because Florida's moving back to where we're supposed to be, okay? Tennessee at some point, I don't know, because they have no recruiting in that state. And they're having a hard time going to find a place for it. But Florida's moving back.
Agreed. Give us your Philip. Give us your prediction on the score tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Florida's going to be in the 30s. I'm going to tell you that right now. I can't give you a total score, but we will definitely be in the 30s. I have no problem starting slow as long as we're not playing stupid. Because it's baseball. The first time you get up on a pitcher, he doesn't know you. You don't know him. It's usually easier for the batter. But the second and third time around, the pitcher knows you. He knows where he's going. To the first quarter, nobody knows what the hell's going on. The coaches make a game plan. It's the second and then the third and fourth quarter. Who saw what's going on? Who makes changes? I would rather start off a little slow and then fire out coming down, because that means I've read your defense, I know what you're doing, I'll shut you down. Then Florida State, who started hot, scored all their points in the first quarter, and then the other team made adjustments, and then they're done. So sometimes you come out of the gates too quick. It's because the other team, you haven't figured each other out yet. The guy who figures it out as the game goes on is the guy who's going to win the game. All Florida right. will win in the Kentucky will get, I'm saying, 14.
There we go.
All right, Phil.
Appreciate it,
buddy.
I'm on those wavelengths. That's where I'm at. I said that right off the bat.
All right, let's take our last time out. We'll come back and get to Tony and Dustin. You're listening to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRF.
I want you to think for a second about some of the most enjoyable moments you've had in your life. Well, now think about what was alongside of that, and I bet you there was a cold brewski, a part of the fun. And people all over the world have the same experiences, but with different tastes. But now, with World of Beer in town, those tastes have come right to the town of Tioga. With over 550 beers from across the globe, you've got the chance to sample some of the finest beers around. And as they bring it from the bottles and the taps, they also bring the tavern. Fare, that is, a menu that is crafted to pair perfectly with a beer of your choice. They've got a great daily happy hour and prices as awesome as the atmosphere. Also, at World of Beer Tioga, you'll get live music, trivia nights, $5 burgers on Mondays, and other food specials throughout the week. And every Friday this fall, when the Gator football team has a home game, Jeff, Pat, and PG will all be at World of Beer broadcasting live, so come see how ugly they really are and join us for the tailgate. Zip on over to World of Beer Tioga and enjoy some of the finest crafts created from some of the finest folks in Gainesville.
I'm Steve Spurrier, sometimes called the head ball coach, and I'm here to tell you I got the SUV that I drive from Davis.
Well, Coach, you're not the only one, because I got the vehicle that I drive from Davis Gainesville Chevrolet. But the question is now, how do we get everybody else in town to jump on the Davis bandwagon?
If you bleed orange and blue, Davis is the place for you. Davis Automotive Group, the official hometown automotive partner of the Florida Gators.
So what you waiting for? Get to Main Street today, because real Gators drive Davis Chevrolets. Find new roads. So, yes, it is hot outside, but that's why we live in Florida, to get out, enjoy the sunshine and all the great things about the outdoors, because right around the corner, we're going to be occupied with football season. So get out and enjoy baseball, softball, golf, water sports, and so much more. And it's probably time to upgrade that equipment as well. And your one-stop shop is a name we all know and love. Play It Again Sports. They've got the latest and greatest bats with the best pop on the planet. DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Easton, and Combat, and the best training aids to help you with that swing. And if it's a golf swing that needs work, well, they'll help you with that too. The best brands of golf clubs in the business. Or if you've dedicated this summer to get fit like us here on the Tailgate, well, they've got bikes, treadmills, ellipticals, and weights that are great. So whatever it is you want to do, Play It Again is a perfect place for you. Located on University and 34th Street, it's easy to find, and guess what? I'm there all the time, so I just might see you at Play It Again Sports.
Call Bounce to repair or replace your AC unit. Call Bounce. Give Bounce a call and we'll get right to it. Working 7 in the morning till 7 at night. We never charge overtime. We do things right.
Lower your utility bills with the new affordable carrier system from Bounce Heating and Air. Turn to the experts at Bounce Heating and Air and save even more money with rebates and tax credits. Bounce Heating and Air. We are the experts.
Spring, summer, or fall, just give us a call.
Hey, sports fans, football season is back, and it's time to reassess your home entertainment system to enjoy all the games this season. Let the experts at Electronics World help you upgrade with a new Sony 4K HD flat panel TV or a new sound system to enhance the game experience. They carry a great selection of home theater products and provide professional installation. Electronics World is a licensed contractor with experienced install technicians, and they provide service on all the products they sell. Located in the Newberry Crossing Shopping Center, or Google Electronics World today.
The Tailgate is brought to you by Davis Gainesville Chevrolet Cadillac, the only dealership in town that's the official partner of the Florida Gators. Real Gators drive Davis.
This is Florida Gators women's basketball head coach Cameron Neubauer, and you are listening to The Tailgate on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF, the home of the Florida Gators.
Welcome back to the Tailgate here on ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM WRUF. Got a few more minutes. Take a couple calls.
Yeah, and they got exactly 6 minutes to get their picks in. Once again, will Felipe throw for 4 touchdowns or account for 4 touchdowns? Will it be 48 over under combined score? And will the Gators score 10 points in the first quarter or more? Email those to Jeff or direct message Instagram and get them in. That's it.
I just saw a trailer for a movie I need to go see.
What's that?
Rambo, Last Blood. Oh, I'm in. I am there. The last one, oh.
That movie's probably going to be terrible. I'm just going to let you know.
Let's get back to the phones. Dustin, he's been waiting. You're on WRAF. What's going on, Dustin?
Hey, guys, what's up? I know we're short on time, so I just got a quick thought on the game for tomorrow. Man, it's going to be a good one. I really believe that the Gators are going to play great. And the last few games, the Gators have really started slow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost been to the point where it's been annoying because, you know, one execution mistake that doesn't happen here, one play that goes right there, and those games look completely different. You know, this past game, if Kyle Pitts doesn't trip, scores a touchdown that play, I think we're looking at a 60-point game right there. I think we blow the house down. Instead, you know, we're looking at 2 games that, yeah, Felipe played great. I'm not buying this hoopla that Joe Burrows leaps and bounds better than Felipe. I believe they're both playing excellent. I believe that both still need to see the gauntlet of the SEC, and we'll find out what they're really made of in the coming weeks. So I'm not buying any of that, but I do know this. I know Dan Mullen is a motivator, and I'm believing that Dan Mullen's going to have this team ready. And I believe it was said earlier in the show that we could have 10+ points in the first quarter. I believe we're gonna march down the field. We're gonna score first, and we're gonna keep on scoring, and we're not gonna look back.
Yeah, that's pretty much my sentiment as well, and I've mentioned that all
Exactly.
day. We are on the same page. And, you know, Florida covered last week. That was a big deal to Steve Spurrier. He even mentioned that this week. When he used to coach, he would talk about on the coaches show, well, we covered. And he mentioned it that, hey, Florida played well, we covered. He knows. I watched that stuff. And I'm not saying he's betting, but he knows we covered. So you didn't play bad when you cover, when you're picked to win and you're big up, big upset factor and all that with what's going on in the country, and you covered. So
that's right.
All right,
well, hey, my pick.
Go ahead.
My pick for the game is 30-6.
There you go.
Go Gators.
All right, thanks for calling, Dustin. All right, Jones, you want to get you in real quick. What's going on, man?
Well, guys, there's a lot of things that you got me riled up about, but I will talk about that later. Well, first of all, what was that second question that you had?
Oh,
10 points, I know.
It's will the Gators score 10 points or more in the first quarter? Will Felipe Franks account for 4 touchdowns, either running, throwing, offensive? And then what do you pick the over under, and that number is 48 points. Are you over that for the combined score, or are you under that?
I'm definitely under it. You got to remember, let's go back at least 8 years. Gators, every time they go to Kentucky, they have a problem. Even going back to Will Greer, it was 17-9.
Good point.
I'm saying that they're going to play, believe me, take Kentucky seriously. Because this is a big game for the Gators. Last year it wasn't as big as it is this year because the Gators should be moving to another dimension. Because I'm looking for them to be a top 10 team the rest of the season, or at least be around that area from 1 to 15. But do not take this game lightly. I'm saying 17-9.
Ooh. Nice. Okay, so you're on the under, but you're picking the Gators. All right, Jonesy.
I'm picking the Gators.
So before you take this final call, if you can, but Jonesy made a great point. I haven't heard it all day. I've heard it a little bit earlier in the week. Florida historically, for the most part, has had some issues going up there, even with great teams. So it still doesn't make me worry. I'm not budging. I'm predicting 34-7 Gators.
All right.
And they start fast. So
right.
they might score more than that. That still puts them under the under.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 30-17 thing.
That's still under.
Yep. Anyway. Well, PG, thanks for coming in. It's always great having you in. One of these days, we'll have to do a whole entire show about the media.
I don't know. I just, I get a headache when we start doing that because, media, I know a lot of them and not in that way. And I know they try to take off the glasses around here and they're making a living. And a lot of them have been doing it for a long time. And they've been objective and fair and they're good people. And it's their opinion. And they're paid to give their opinion. So I respect the heck out of that. And they're all, the majority of the people that I'm talking about have all graduated from the University of Florida and have kids that go to the University of Florida like mine.
That's true.
So we're all Gators.
Well,
and we're
Jake,
going to win.
You did a great job today. I
Thanks.
appreciate it. All right, don't forget 3 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to start our pregame show with Steve Russell. And an hour after the game, Steve will be back taking your calls. Gator Volleyball is up later this evening. You listen to ESPN 98.1 FM, 850 AM, WRUF. Have a great weekend, everybody.
College of Journalism and Communications, WRUF Gainesville, ESPN 98.1 FM and 850 AM, WRUF.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports